Most of our garden variety introductions come from this very beginning place of 2-5 or 2-5-1 back to the 5. Another thing we can do is go 3-6-2-5. And this makes a longer introduction, quite a pleasant jazz introduction. We use it all the time. With my rootless chords, I'll start with my E minor 7 here, but it's a rootless jazz chord. It makes it a 9 chord automatically. And if I go to the 5 chord, I'm just using my A-shaped rootless chords. If you studied those chords, you know what I'm talking about then. Something else that I do personally at the end of these sort of common introductions that I'm talking about, that have the 1-6-2-5 or the 2-5 or the 3-6-2-5, I'll turn the 5 chord into a flat 9 chord at the end. And actually often a flat 9 with a 13. Now that chord looks like this. I'm in the key of C, and this is a G 13 flat 9 chord. Now, if you know your rootless chords, then you recognize what I'm doing there. I'm going to break it down for you, for those of you that don't know your rootless chords. Let me explain how it works so that you'll be able to transpose it into other keys if you like also. So it comes from a regular G7 chord. This is a root position, G7, G dominant 7. But I'm going to put the 7 on the bottom, which is a better position for it than to have it in root position. Much better if you can put the 7 on the bottom of your chord. And this goes for all of your root position chords. If you can get the 7 on the bottom, a lot of times it's going to sound a little better than having it just in a root position. So here I am like this, and what I'm going to do to get to a flat 9 is raise the root a half a step. So that's going to come up here. Now if I put the root in my left hand, I've got this G7 flat 9 chord. It's a rootless G7 flat 9. The root's in the left hand, but there's no root in the right hand. So you can play the chord just like this if you wanted, playing a 2-5 progression. But what I'm going to do is add a 13 to it to make it sound more lush, like a really beautiful jazz dominant chord. So I'll go back to the flat 9 chord. All I have to do to make it a 13 is raise the 5 up one whole step up to here. And the 5 becomes a 13. Now I've got the full chord that I want. I can play it just like that at the end of any of our introduction ideas here that I've showed you in what I call our sort of garden variety common introduction ideas. So if I'm going to play a 2-5, instead of a regular G7, I put a G7 with a 13 and flat 9. This just puts a little added touch at the end of the introduction to give it a little pleasant jazz dissonance. So if I was going to go 1-6-2-5, and then I might carry it up to the next octave. If I'm going 3-6-2-5, here I'm going to play the 3-6-2-5 cocktail piano introductions just the way I might play them casually. I'm just going to play them in a loose way like I might when I sit down to make an introduction for a song. And I'm going to use Someone to Watch Over Me as an example. So I'll play the introduction, then go into the song. And you're going to see that we can use this 3-6-2-5 on the turnaround for this song also. And that is just commonplace in a lot of our standards. We see the 3-6-2-5 at the end of the first A section. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. So we get a lot of use out of this 3-6-2-5. Now our dominant chords, which are the 6 and the 5, are going to be dominant 7, flat 9, 13ths. This is a beautiful jazz sound, especially for cocktail piano. I've got that written out with the minor chords with a 9 on the minor chords. You can play them with a 9 or a 7. I'll show you what I mean. The key of C, we're going to use the 3-6-2-5 introduction, going E minor 7 to A, dominant 7, flat 9 with a 13, D minor 7 with a G, flat 9, 13. And on the minor chords, I sometimes play E minor 7 or I play E minor 9. Either one, it doesn't matter. On the music, you'll see I've got the 9s written, but you can play them with the 7 also. Either way. All I'm doing is rolling the chord and rolling it any way I want to. I could start from the top. Anyway, break up those notes however you feel them. Back to the 3-6-2-5, just like the intro. Same thing now in the key of F. So I'm going to take 3-6-2-5, the key of F, starting on the A minor 7 to the D7 flat 9, G minor 7 to the C7 flat 9 with 13s. And this sets up the ear for the new key. You play an introduction like this and your ear is really set to where you're going. Same thing. 3-6-2-5 with the flat 9 and 13.